From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is U.S. Farm Report.
Welcome to U.S. Farm Report this weekend. I'm Tyne Morgan, and here's what's in store over the next 60 minutes. More big export buys this week.
When we look at the export pace that we're on right now, it's stronger than what we normally have at this time of year, and it's largely been because of Mexico.
But demand for soybeans could see a slowdown as producers await the Biden administration's guidance on 45Z.
This political situation is beyond a civic discourse, or civil discourse, I should say, at this point.
It's not just drought causing cattle producers to be hesitant to rebuild.
I also think there's this economic pull of how can I justify retaining these heifers when they're bringing the prices that they are.
So just how long before the rebuilding actually takes place? We have fresh insights. And we'll introduce you to this North Dakota ranching family on a unique journey.
We're trying to revitalize that land and make it better and hopefully correlate to a better wholesome beef product.
How they're transitioning into the future. Now for the news, we've been keeping you updated on a number of flash sales over the past several weeks, with Mexico being a big buyer of U.S. corn recently. Mexico coming in with a big flash sale of corn on Friday to the tune of 10 million metric tons. Mexico is already the top buyer of U.S. corn for 2024-2025, and they also have sales on the books for the 2025 to 2026 marketing year. StoneX Group telling me the surge in sales to Mexico is due to their ongoing drought and the price of corn today.
When we look at the export pace that we're on right now, it's stronger than what we normally have at this time of year, and it's largely been because of Mexico. That's not been the trend long term, but it was the trend last year. That followed a drought. They had more drought this last year as well. So I think because of a tight supply in Mexico, they're trying to make sure they can get as much coverage as possible near the harvest lows. That would suggest weakness down the road.
Suderman also telling me that if the longer-term supply concerns continue, especially with the Black Sea and with late planting in Brazil, then Mexico's strong appetite for U.S. corn could continue. Well, some economists think agriculture is already in a recession, but don't tell the Iowa and Missouri land markets that. Two land sales last week came in at a whopping $17,000 per acre, and one in Iowa topped $20,000 just this week. According to Iowa land appraiser Jim Rothermich, the biggest surprise was a sale in Iowa County, Iowa. It consisted of 3 tracts of land, and the first tract sold for $17,000 per acre. According to Rothermich, what makes the sale so surprising is that the land has been in CRP for over 40 years. Rothermich describing it as extremely rare, telling me CRP ground typically is sold at a discount.
I talked to the auctioneer after that auction to get the results, and when he told me the results, I kind of almost dropped the phone. But it was, south of Williamsburg, Iowa. And so there's some pretty good buyers in that area. Not a lot comes up for sale. And so two local buyers kind of got in a bidding war with that. But and so the price run up to $17,000 an acre. And the auctioneer was telling me that it had been in CRP for 40 years and still had several years left on the CRP contracts.
Rothermich says there is still a group of buyers flush with cash, but these high-dollar sales are not happening as frequently. He's also concerned about the number of no sales. We'll have more on the ag economy coming up in our Farm Journal report. Well, there's a lot of controversy over Pure Prairie Poultry. A group of senators, including Iowa Republican Senator Joni Ernst, is now demanding answers from USDA. The Iowa Department of Agriculture says it was forced to euthanize roughly 1.3 million chickens. That's after Pure Prairie Poultry said in late September that due to its bankruptcy, it could no longer afford to buy feed for its flock living on 14 Iowa farms. Contracted farmers in Wisconsin and Minnesota were also affected. Ernst and other senators in a letter to USDA say that Pure Prairie Poultry was only in business for a few short years, and in that time say the company received $45 million in grants and loans from USDA. Some of that through USDA's plan to expand small and medium-sized processing. A USDA spokesperson defending the department's programs, saying they have worked to rebuild and create new markets for U.S. farmers after challenges posed by trade wars and the COVID-19 pandemic. Well, for the first time, USDA is reporting a case of H5N1 in a pig. The agency says it was discovered in a pig in an Oregon backyard farm. Farm Journal's PorkBusiness.com reporting on this, saying it's important to note that there is no concern about the safety of the nation's pork supply as a result. USDA says this is a non-commercial operation and the animals were not intended for the commercial food supply. It reports the case was discovered on a farm that included a mix of poultry and livestock along with swine. The Oregon Department of Agriculture saying the poultry on the same farm represented the first H5N1 detection in Crook County, Oregon. Officials report the livestock and poultry on the farm shared water sources, housing, and equipment, which in other states has enabled transmission between species. The swine were euthanized and the farm is under quarantine. That's it for the news. Well, some much needed rain falling across the country this week. That's after a string of wildfires caused havoc in several states. We'll have a check of your forecast coming up next.
U.S. Farm Report is brought to you by Pioneer.
Ben's bins, please hold.
Yeah, Ben's has been busy all day.
Seems like no one can keep up with this new Z series. What did you all put in these seeds?
Science.